Today, we're diving into one of the all-time great creator to CEO stories, Michelle Phan. But we're not just going to tell her story. Oh no, we are breaking it down into an actual playbook, a blueprint for anyone out there looking to build a real empire, not just a channel. So here's the big question, right? How on earth does someone with just a college laptop making videos in their room end up building a massive beauty empire? Well, I'll tell you this much. It isn't luck, it is pure strategy. And that strategy is exactly what we're unpacking. This isn't just a history lesson. Think of this as the influencer empire blueprint. A repeatable plan for turning all those views and likes into a real, lasting business. So where does a story like this even begin? Well, like any great business, it all starts with spotting a need, finding a gap in the market that for some reason nobody else is filling. Let's rewind the clock to 2007. YouTube was basically the Wild West back then. And you've got this student, Michelle Phan, who went by the name Rice Bunny, and she just starts uploading makeup tutorials from her laptop. I mean, it doesn't get more grassroots than that. Okay, so check this out, because this is where she was absolutely brilliant. At the time, all the beauty content on YouTube was made by pros for pros. It was super polished, really aspirational, and honestly kind of intimidating. So what did Michelle do? The exact opposite. She made content for everybody else. Relatable, authentic advice that people could actually use. And the connection she made was just instant. It was this incredible mix of vulnerability, like she wasn't afraid to show her imperfections, but it also had this professional polish that made you feel like you were getting real value. She gave away insider tips, and then, of course, came to viral hits. Her Barbie and Lady Gaga transformations just exploded all over the internet. So, here's the key takeaway from her early days. She found that magic formula. Making content that felt high quality enough to aspire to, but delivered it in a way that felt completely down to earth and accessible. That's what built her tribe, that loyal first audience. All right, so once you have that audience, the next big question is, how do you start making money? That's the monetization phase. And believe me, there's a pretty standard playbook for this, and Michelle absolutely mastered every single piece of it. You could call this the creator starter pack. First up, you've got your basic AdSense income from all those views. Then you start adding affiliate links in your descriptions. Next comes the big one, brand partnerships. Her deal with Lancome was a huge deal, a major validator. And finally, you solidify your expert status with a book deal. These 4 pillars were her financial foundation. But this is where the story gets really, really good. This is the pivot. She made the jump from being an influencer who gets paid for their time to an owner who builds assets. This is, without a doubt, the most critical shift in the entire blueprint. And she did this by building what we're calling the business stack. Now, this isn't just about having a few different income streams. It's about strategically layering businesses that you actually own. It's how you turn your personal brand into a real, diversified company that can survive way beyond any single social media platform. And here's the timeline of how she built it. In 2011, she co-founds what would become the subscription monster, Ipsy. 2 years later, she launches her own makeup line, Cosmetics, with a giant like L'Oreal. But then, and this is the absolute masterstroke, she later buys full ownership of the company so she could rebuild it exactly how she wanted, based on what her audience was telling her. And that is the lesson right there. The whole goal changed. It wasn't about how much can I make from this video anymore. It became, how can I use this video to build a scalable asset that makes money for years? She went from being a creator to being a CEO. So let's pull the blueprint itself apart. What are the specific, repeatable tactics that you can see powering both her content and her businesses? Okay, this slide lays it all out, and it's so important to see how these two sides work together. Over on the left, you have her content tactics, right? Things like integrating product demos into her tutorials. But look how that directly fuels the business tactics on the right. Those product demos weren't just ads. They were priceless market research for the products she would eventually create herself with Cosmetics. That's vertical integration, owning the whole process. You see how it works? The content side is constantly feeding the business side and vice versa. It's a flywheel. So, we've broken down her blueprint. Now for what really matters. How can you start applying these exact lessons to whatever it is that you're building? All right, here is your action plan. Start thinking about how to turn your educational content into soft product demos. Put clear calls to action in every single description. Why not test a small subscription offer? See if you can build that amazing recurring revenue. And hey, if something isn't working, don't be afraid to relaunch it and evolve. But the biggest thing, the most crucial mindset shift, is to think beyond your next video and start focusing on the entire system you're building around it. Which really brings us to the final question, the one you should walk away with. For any creator, your content is absolutely the foundation. It's how you build trust, how you build community, how you get attention. But it's just the start. The real question is, what are you going to build on top of it?